All right, we are good to go. What's happening, everybody? It is Wednesday afternoon. This is section 1904, the post game edition with the season on the brink. Padres turn to their pitching, and man, did they get a pitching performance for the ages. 3-0 the final score, just a final from Wrigley Field about 10 minutes ago. I'm Darren Smith. He's John Gennaro. Thank you for being with us, whether you're listening to us and watching us in real time or whether you're doing it a little bit later on demand. This is something new, by the way. I'm actually showered. This normally doesn't happen when we're recording. I could say for almost every one of the times that you and I have recorded a show, I have not been showered, but I did take a shower. As a matter of fact, I will tell you, I took a shower and I missed this catch from Fernando Tatis Jr. in the eighth inning. I had to get in the shower. John, you're going to explain that one, but on a day where they absolutely needed it, no tomorrow. There is a tomorrow now, so Padres 3-0 in Chicago. We are on before even any of the post-game reaction, post-game sound. Your initial thoughts, John, since yesterday you were described as rather despondent doing this show on your own. What's the mood like here today? Complete 180 or do you need a cigarette? What's the deal?
I mean, why can't it be both? What is the opposite of despondent? Jubilant? Euphoric. Yeah, I think I'm euphoric. It was. I know. There's an actual baseball term for this. I'm not stupid. It was not an actual perfect game by baseball terms, but for the Padres, pretty much perfect game. The hitters that they needed to hit. No one did anything stupid. Almost every decision that Mike Schilt made worked out, or at least did not hurt the team. Some of the decisions that Craig Counsell made ended up hurting the Cubs, and I know people don't care for the announcers. I thought they're fine. I thought they were better today than yesterday. And it was funny in the ninth inning. I'm kind of writing a game recap for section1904.com. And I don't know which one it was. One of the announcers just said, "This is one of the 5 best offenses in baseball." Do we realize that the Padres just shut down one of the absolute best offenses in baseball and made them look non-threatening? Like there wasn't even a moment of like, whew, lucky we got out of that one. Like even yesterday, there was the Morhone came in, got into some trouble and like got the double play. There was almost none of that. It was just smooth sailing from the pitching staff. A lot of really good at bats from the hitters. I don't think I could ask for anything more from the Padres. Sure, they could have scored like 8 runs instead of 3, but this is what I needed to make me feel really good about heading into Game 3. You asked for my prediction like 5 hours ago, and I said they'd win today and probably lose tomorrow. And this game may have turned me around on that. I might be thinking Padres win tomorrow.
Oh, of course. As a matter of fact, we asked that question on our Discord channel. What do you think is going to happen? 55% said a sweep. Winning in 3 was 35%. Losing in 3 was 10%. So I would imagine, too, there's still a couple of hours left that you can vote on that. I mean, it's just listen. It's a poll. It's not intended to be taken seriously, but it is. Pitching was the name of the game, and it was 3 2/3 from Dylan Cease. It was 2 1/3 from Adrian Morhone. That is a season high for Morahone. It was 1 2/3 from Miller, and it was an inning and a third from Robert Suarez. 3 hits allowed by Dylan Cease, 1 hit allowed by Robert Suarez. That one came into the ninth inning as well. So as always, there's usually a little bit of drama. It's the end of the game. It's the way it's going to be. Felt like for the first time, the Cubs fans were into it. The Padres really took the Cubs fans out of it. I thought by the time we turned on the television at 12 o'clock, this place was going to be a cauldron. And it kind of wasn't. And I think a lot of that had to do with the Padre pitching, starting with Dylan Cease, who deserves his flowers today. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to apologize for him. Anything that anybody said about Dylan Cease, his 1-9 road record, how he's performed during the regular season, how he could frustrate you, how he makes you want to pull out your hair, that doesn't have anything to do with this. Today, he deserves the flowers. And so does Manny Machado. The Padres get a run in the first. They go hit, strikeout, what was it? Hit, strikeout, sack or something, and then sacrifice fly from Jackson Merrill. So that's the first run. And then you talked a little bit about it. I took notes like I was watching an NFL game in the third inning. I pointed out on the Discord channel, I could not believe that they were pitching to Manny Machado with the base open and Jackson Merrill on deck, but they did it. They got away with it. They didn't get away with it in the fifth inning. And that was a moment that a lot of people needed. Manny Machado hitting a 2-run home run in the fifth inning. And that was all the offense that the Padres would need. 3-0, a little bit of cushion, and then the bullpen went to work. So incredibly satisfying day. I don't know about you. It's easy to say this sort of stuff after the fact, John, but I just never really even I wasn't too nervous about this game. It just seemed like the bullpen was so dominant, and it doesn't take much. And even with Robert Suarez there, who maybe doesn't inspire as much confidence, let's say, as Mason Miller does, or even Adrian Morejon, I don't know. I just sort of felt like the Cubs, they just looked like, oh man, like having to march up there to the plate and face however many 100+ mile per hour pitches just seemed like it was incredibly demoralizing to them over the span of that game. And it just felt like the Padres were out there flexing and imposing their will. And that's kind of just how it went until the final out of the baseball game.
Yeah, far be it for me to crap on Mike Schilt, but I don't think this is a very gritty squad. What I think is this is an incredibly different team when they get a lead than when they're playing from behind or even tied. And what took the crowd out of the game? Padres get a lead early. What made Dylan Cease pitch more effectively? Seemingly, he pitched with a lead the entire game. There was no point in which he wasn't pitching with a lead, and the bullpen was pitching with a lead.
Had a lead yesterday.
Yeah. But it's yes.
I think it goes back to something Judson said. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut.
No, go ahead.
But I do wonder, has the dynamic at Wrigley Field changed a little bit? Because
it's hard to hit home runs there. It's really hard to hit home runs.
No, I don't even mean
you just
like
mean
the ballpark.
Fans.
I mean the type of person that goes to the game. Anyway, that's something that Judson mentioned the other day. That it's really really expensive there, and it did not resemble what I remember Wrigley Field during the postseason looking like in 26 and 2017. But that's neither here nor there. Let's wait, because that could totally change by tomorrow. We don't know a start time. But anyhow, as you were.
Well, and I want to move on to something else, because I think, okay, first of all, I said this on the Discord. I do think I owe an apology to Dylan Cease, because I've come on here multiple times and said, if I was Mike Schilt, I would not give Dylan Cease a playoff start. And he was brilliant today. He was brilliant. I also think Mike Schilt made the right call when he pulled Dylan Cease and brought in Morejon to face lefty Pete Crow Armstrong. Not only did that work out, I don't think people quite understand how impressive Adrian Morejon was today. Not only did he come in and sit down 7 straight Cubs batters, 7 straight, he went up and down twice, and he pitched yesterday. Like, he came in, got a guy out, sat down for a pretty long inning. I think that may have been the inning when Manny hit the home run. And then he came back, shut down 3 guys, sat back down for another longish inning of the Padres offense, and then came back out and shut down 3 guys the day after he pitched a full inning yesterday. I mean, Adrian Morejon is incredible right now. And actually, it has me wondering, questions for weeks from now, it has me wondering if they're once again going to consider a longer starter-ish role for Adrian Morejon, because they are just throwing stuff at him, and he is just eating innings and Cubs batters alive. But Dylan Cease was great. Morejon was great. Mason Miller seems like he's been great since the moment he got here. He might be the best relief pitcher in baseball, and great once again. And then Robert Suarez is he's a different pitcher when he has a 3-run lead, and he could just throw gas and not worry about, like, hey, if I throw 100 down the middle and this guy times it right, that could really screw things up. It all just seemed to work out for the pitchers. It's worth mentioning. I heard Jesse Agler mention it, because I heard part of it. I watched part of this on TV. I listened to part of it on the radio. I heard Jesse Agler and Tony Gwynn Jr. talking about there were still missed opportunities. This team still went, I believe, 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position. That's still awful. But the pitching was so good. Manny's home run was great. And you know who was great today, who I really need to call out, because I called him out yesterday for being absolutely terrible, is Fernando Tatis Jr. That run in the first inning, he gets the single. Luis Ariz gets a single. Manny strikes out, and then Tatis steals third.
Double steal.
setting up the sac fly from Jackson Merrill. He essentially created that run by getting on base. I know Arise got him over to second, but he got himself over to third, put himself in position for Merrill to hit the sac fly, score the run, give them the lead. He also played incredible defense, as you mentioned. There was that ball down the right field line that it seemed like maybe he was going to lose it in the sun, and then he had to jump, and he caught it, and he looked very athletic. He did that. He ended up getting one hit, scoring 2 runs, and he had the walk that was, I think, a 7 or 8 pitch at bat walk that got him on base ahead of the Manny home run to make that a 2-run home run. In all facets of the game, outside of the fact that he didn't get to show off his arm today, Fernando Tatis Jr. was fantastic. He was terrible yesterday. He was fantastic today, and it really mattered.
Yeah, I don't hear many people talking about. I don't understand, why are they moving Fernando Tatis Jr. to the outfield? This is what people envision for him, that he could really be this kind of player. It's interesting. I mentioned that I take notes, like I'm back watching Chargers games. Did post it on the Discord too. Said in the 3rd inning that there was a base open and a lefty. This is now, they had taken Kittredge out of there, so it's Imanaga who's pitching for the Cubs, who's a lefty, and like he's kind of at the point where you think, okay, are they going to move on here? Are they going to go to their bullpen? He had thrown, let me see, 67 pitches. He had thrown 65 pitches, somewhere in that range, and there's a base. Hold on, let me back up here. I'm getting my chronology all wrong. In the 3rd inning. Okay, same pitchers in the game. So they're into their second pitcher, who is their starting pitcher, Imanaga. And runner on second base, Manny Machado at the plate, and Jackson Merrill on deck. And they pitched to Manny. And I wrote a note. I was like, what is going on here? That they have so little respect for Manny that they are pitching to him like this in the 3rd inning of a game. They're not even trying the old pitch around thing here. They're not even trying that.
Now, they weren't afraid of him, obviously.
Manny got himself out somehow. But then the second time through, they tried the same thing, and he punished them. I know I sent you the clip. I don't know if you want to play it or not. But, he punished them that second time on the first pitch, which was a hanging slider at 84 miles per hour. This, to me, is something that Craig Counsell, if they don't win this series, the Cubs, he is going to have to answer for that, I think, for a really, really long time. Now, maybe the result would have been exactly the same because none of the Cubs hitters could hit the Padre pitchers. So maybe it would have finished 1-0. We'll never know, right? Fallacy of the predetermined outcome. As we've said a couple of times before, hat tip to Michael Kay. But I saw that in the 3rd, and I was like, wait, what? They're not even, you could say 3rd inning's too early to start putting runners on base, all that sort of stuff. But they didn't even pretend like they were going to show him any respect at all. And then come 5th inning, in a situation where, again, base open, he's sort of at the end of the road. You could tell like he wasn't great. This is a guy, John, who has given up the 4th most home runs in all of Major League Baseball. 4th most. 31 is the 4th most in all of baseball. And they let that guy pitch to, I mean, that's still Manny Machado. We could spend an hour on a pregame show shitting on Manny Machado. But that is still Manny Machado. I mean, and to show somebody that little respect, to me, is just not something that I will understand. I think AJ Cassavell pointed it out also, and he made a great point. The whole purpose of starting Kittredge is that you did not want to be put in a situation where Imanaga was pitching to Manny Machado. And then there you were in the 5th inning, and Manny absolutely punishes you. Hits the 2-run home run, and you just felt like, the way this bullpen is going, they are not going to concede today. They are absolutely not going to concede. And that is, Manny, I thought, was very funny. I mean, for as much as we talk about Manny, maybe it's just our local media. I don't know. I mean, who could blame him? But Manny was very funny in the dugout with Jesse Rogers. So he's like, yeah, I haven't been any good. I wasn't surprised. But he just said, I pay attention. I'm watching this stuff. I know what he's doing. He hung he hung the pitch right before the bat, he's always paying attention. And I just was really, really surprised. I was surprised when they did it in the 3rd. And then when they did it again in the 5th, I was like, you deserve to be punished. I am happy that he is punishing you because I'm rooting for the Padres. but I also think you deserved it. You asked for that and you got it. And, you'll have to, that's going to cause Craig Counsell to lose a little bit of sleep tonight.
For sure. And I don't have a clip from you, so I'm not sure which clip. Was it just the Manny home run? Is that the clip you wanted to play?
Yeah.
Oh, I actually do have that. Let me talk about the two situations, and then I will play the clip of the Manny home run. The difference between the third inning and the fifth inning is that in the third inning, it was Freddie Fermin on second base. In the fifth inning, it was Fernando Tatis Jr. And it was Fernando Tatis Jr. that in the first inning, when he got to second base, he stole third, and Jackson Merrill hit him home with a sac fly. And Jackson Merrill has been hitting the ball to the outfield for 2 games, despite the fact that he wasn't confident enough to swing at it yesterday. And I think maybe Craig Counsell was like if we put Manny on and we try and have Shota pitch to Merrill, or we bring someone in to face Manny, Tatis is just going to end up on third. It's just going to be a sac fly anyway. But
I'm just saying that they went after him like that.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't even pretend to pitch around him. It was like, oh, we're going right after you here.
Yeah. All right, let's show
that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that you got to walk the guy there, but they didn't even give Manny any reason to think. And if you're Manny, you're like, wow, they pitched to me. Okay. They might pitch to me again. And they did exactly that again in the fifth. No, I totally agree with you, John. I'm not saying they should have walked him. I'm saying it's like they just didn't even, they were like, oh, we don't care. They treated Manny Machado like he was Tyler Wade in that spot. And Manny, for whatever it is that we might want to point out, or fans might want to point out, that is still fucking Manny Machado.
He's a Hall of Fame baseball player. Yeah.
Yeah. And he has led this team in home runs. And this is a pitcher who has been really, really susceptible to the long ball. And in the fifth inning, he absolutely crushes that. Like you said, Fermin starts the inning, he strikes out. Tatis walks, a rise sacrifice bunt, which I'm sure everybody was losing their minds over.
I don't know if you saw that or not. On the broadcast,
Jesse one out, I didn't like it.
Jesse Agler said, I didn't see it. Jesse Agler said it was a drag bunt, and Tony said it was a drag bunt that if he had gotten it past Shota, that he would have been safe at first, and that's what he was trying to do, but he didn't get enough. He didn't get it past Shota. Shota was able to throw him out at first, so it just turned into a sac bump. But they were like, it's pretty obvious that he was going for a single there. Whatever.
Yeah, okay. I mean, this has been a bit of criticism that I've heard about Arise is, he does the sac bunt thing because it doesn't damage him. Like, it doesn't impact his batting average.
Also that.
And if you get that through and you get a hit, then great. But if it doesn't work, then you haven't cost yourself anything. Now, I don't know why that would be his mindset during the postseason, but maybe, and I think you're right. I think they did point that out as well. Can we hear the home run at least as we heard it on ABC for those that were paying attention, we're watching?
And Machado cranks the first pitch to deep left field. Ian Happ will watch it go. Manny Machado destroys the first pitch splitter. The Cubs do not turn to the bullpen, and Machado hits it over the bullpen. 3-0 San Diego.
And what do we talk about coming into this game? It's got to be the dudes. And for the Padres, it is Tatis, it is Machado. I give Tatis a ton of credit for taking the walk, something he could not do yesterday, chasing pitches outside the zone to get on base, to get into scoring position. Manny Machado bat has been quiet, has not had a hit, has not looked good at the plate, struck out his first at bat. He gets a splitter here.
Yep, and then he gets out of the inning, and Merrill, again, the lefty, is on deck. He gets Merrill out, and then that was the ball game for Shota. So then Morejon comes into the game, and they just lock it down. They completely lock the game down, and we are on to Thursday, John. We are on to a game 3.
And we have no idea what time. We have no idea. I mean, I'm assuming the plan is Darvish into King, and then the bullpen cleans up the rest.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know that for sure. We were texting with Judson. Judson was surprised that they pulled Colin Ray out of the bullpen because he, like me, kind of assumed Colin Ray would be the game 3 starter if there was a game 3.
Yeah, Counsell's kind of short-circuited there.
Yeah, Counsell here's the thing. Mike Schilt had a good game because the stuff that he did that was dumb did not come back to hurt them.
Right.
like pinch hitting Jose Iglesias for Gavin Sheets for no freaking reason. Probably would have come back to hurt them if Manny had actually injured himself that one play where he like dove into foul ground and it seemed like he maybe hurt himself. But it didn't end up hurting them. Bryce Johnson is, good defender in left field. They were playing, protect the lead. I get it, all that. But yeah, everything that Counsell tried, from the opener to leaving Shota out there, to not pitching around Manny, to bringing in Colin Ray, like nothing really worked out well for him.
Yeah, it's just the way it goes sometimes. That's the difference between being a good manager and not being a good manager. And you're right. I'll have to scroll through social media just to see if they've made any announcement. Usually it's like 15, 20 minutes after the game. You will at least announce what it is that your plan is in the first inning. So maybe we can get that by the time we sign off here today. I also thought the defense, I did not see the Tatis play in the 8th. I had to jump in the shower because when I'm done with this, I have to go up to iHeart. So I needed at some point to bathe since I did a bit of exercise. I also thought the defense, whether it was Tatis, even the double play to end the game, that was a little trickier than just a standard 6-4-3. Cronenworth's turn on that was pretty elite looking there from Jacob.
I thought it got stuck in Bogart's glove. Like it seemed like it took him a half second to get it out of his glove and get it over to Jake. And then, Jake had to make that quick turn and that hard throw. They were on it today. They were on it. And to not to intentionally piss off Manny Machado, but maybe to accidentally piss off Manny Machado, they played with a lot of urgency. And I told you that I thought there was a good chance that the Cubs lost this game specifically because they didn't have the urgency. They could lose today, and they still have a home game tomorrow that they can win. The Padres need to come into game 3 with the same level of urgency, and they need to hope that the Cubs don't come in looking like the Cubs of yesterday. But yeah, I'm still kind of in awe of the complete lack of damage from this Cubs lineup today. Like, it's a really good offensive team. Like, hitters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 are all like really good hitters, and not much from any of them. Couple singles here and there usually would land in front of an outfielder, but nothing scary really at all.
Everybody heard that going down 1-0 in this format, that those teams that fell behind 1-0 were 0-12 all time. And we said it, if you were with us during the pre-show, we did actually a show this morning, which I think still you should listen to. I mean, it's previewing the game, but it's also some overarching themes as well. This is the first time, I want to make sure that I have this right here, because I, of course, again, have 9 million notes in front of me between SDFC and 1904 stuff. This is the first time that the home team has lost the second game.
The first time?
Uh-huh.
Really?
So this is the first time. It's only gone to a third game twice.
Now 3 times.
Now 4 times, because the Guardians pushed the Tigers.
That's right.
But the only other 2 times that had happened previously, and again, this is the ultimate small sample size, is the home team loses the first game, wins the second game, and then loses the third game. That's how the Padres beat the Mets in 2022. That is how the Mets beat the Brewers last year. They won game 1, the road team won game 1, lost game 2. So the home team, which was up 1-0 in the history of this format, has never before even gone to a third game, which is, I don't know what. I don't think it's probably much of anything, other than nobody has any experience with this at all. So This is the first time. And, that place, whatever time that game is going to be, and we do know there's at least 2 of these, because we'll have to wait and see what happens with Yankees, Red Sox, and Dodgers and Reds. Then you can start playing around a little bit with some of the start times. I would think one of those series is likely to end tonight. I don't know which one. I think the Dodgers probably. So maybe everything slides up a little bit, unless that's officially been announced. And again, if you're listening to this later, do not think that we are dumber than we actually are. We're just doing this live, and it hasn't been announced yet that I have seen. So I don't know what that is worth, John, and it is probably worth nothing, but it is a tidbit that this is the first time under the official baseball format that the home team has won game 1 and lost game 2. So
wow. I'll throw another tidbit at you, just because I looked this up out of curiosity. So Yu Darvish, this season Yu Darvish, which does include some games that I thought probably should have been in the minor leagues, rehab games, whatever. They break down his performance by how many days of rest he got before that start. Now, you can maybe help me out with this. He last pitched on Friday. He's going to pitch again on Thursday. That's 6 days of rest or 5 days of rest because he pitched Friday and then it's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then he pitches Thursday. Do they
5
count
days rest?
So they don't count the days where you pitch.
No.
A day of rest is a day when you don't pitch. All right. The bulk of his starts this season have come on 5 days rest. He's pitched 9 times on 5 days rest. He is 4-1 in those games, and he has far and away his best ERA of any of these splits. His ERA on 4 days rest is terrible. His ERA on 6 or more days rest is pretty bad. His ERA on 5 days rest is 4. It's fine. It's not terrible. It's fine. And so I think there's a chance. Also, his WHIP is significantly lower. His strikeouts per 9 innings, his strikeout per walk, all of this stuff on 5 days rest is significantly better than anything else. So we should be getting the best version of Yu Darvish that we could get tomorrow, which is encouraging.
Yeah, and I think the baseball gods. I know that they're a cruel bunch, and they are an unemotional bunch. But putting Darvish in an elimination game last year against the Dodgers, you're not going to do that to Darvish back-to-back years. I will not stand for it. I just will not stand for that. I will never watch this stupid fucking sport again if it's back-to-back years with Darvish in an elimination game and the offense just goes quiet. So I won't have that. I'm just putting the baseball gods on notice right now.
Won't have it.
Here are the scenarios. Like we said, there's no way for us really to know what time this game is going to be because you have to wait for the New York and the Cincinnati. If the Yankees and Cincinnati win, the Padres will play at 12:08. So if all series are extended to a third game, same bat time, same bat channel. If the Yankees and the Dodgers win, that means that the Dodgers have moved on. The Padres will play at 2:08 on ESPN. If Boston wins, which means the Yankees are eliminated, and Cincinnati wins, the Padres will be playing at 3:08. What sense does this make? And if Boston and LA win, which means there's only 2 series still going tomorrow, the Padres will play at 4:38. Do you have all of that? There's a quiz
but
here.
I wasn't writing it down.
You weren't paying attention?
No, I
so
mean,
the Padres could play
yeah.
at 12:08, 2:08, 3:08, or 4:38 tomorrow.
Right. You said all of that, and once you got to once
I don't even remember it, and I'm looking at it.
Once there was more than 2 options, I was like, I'll just wait until this is official.
There's no point. This is better for you to look at than it is to listen to.
By the way, there's a comment
do you want me to
in
hold
the
it up
chat.
to my screen?
Oh, good God. Yeah, maybe send me a screenshot of that so I can reference it later, or send me that tweet. There is someone in the chat here, Greg, saying that there is a Cubs writer saying, as Judson predicted in our group chat, that Jameson, I don't know how to say his last, Jameson Taillon will be starting tomorrow. That is, when we asked Judson who he expects to start tomorrow, he said probably Jameson Taillon. So I don't know anything about him. Do you know anything about him?
I know the name. And yeah, again, I hope Judson doesn't mind that we're saying this sort of stuff. We did say, we were asking him a little bit about some of the decision making because he follows the Cubs, and he thought he was really surprised that they put Colin Ray into this game. Jameson Taillon, let's see, it is his 3rd year in Chicago. This year, I'm just reading this off Baseball Reference, just so everybody knows. 11-7, 3.68, 23 starts. 24 homers allowed. What other numbers do you want?
Did you give me like ERA?
3.68.
Oh, for the year. Oh yeah, okay, I see that. I'm trying to see if I can find what his numbers are, like broken down by recency. Oh, here we go.
I mean, we did say that during the pregame that Shota's numbers in September were pretty bad. Again, they kind of just made a mess of it. It just sort of felt like the whole Kittredge thing didn't really go the way they wanted to go, and then they ended up using Himanaka against Manny Machado anyway later, and he crushes one out to deep left field. I guess sometimes it makes sense in your head, and then you actually watch it. At least the things that we say about Mike Schilt are oftentimes a little bit less strategic and more philosophical.
Yeah.
But this time, I think you could say, the actual tactics of Craig Counsell, that's a soccer term, but the actual tactical approach from Craig Counsell just really kind of, it just didn't go well.
It didn't work.
It didn't work in the first. He still gave up a run in the first inning. Mike Schilt did not have to change his lineup the way you and I and others had suggested. And you ended up with a matchup that was advantageous to the Padres later, which was Manny Machado against this lefty in a big spot. And he crushed you. And he absolutely crushed you. And then the Padres turned it over to their bullpen. A moment for Mason Miller. Can we real quick here? Do you ever want to hear about Leo DeVries again?
I don't know, man. I worry that Mason Miller's
I guess it depends what happens tomorrow.
But yeah. But no, look, the Padres have the best relief pitcher in baseball right now, and like you've seen and I've seen, sometimes that's enough to get you pretty deep in the playoffs. Having the best relief pitcher in baseball, just having a guy you can call on for 2 shutout innings almost every game is like it's an incredible weapon to have. Yeah, 104.5. In an at bat where I was listening to this one on the radio, and Jesse and Tony were like, it was against Suzuki, and they were like, Suzuki is a fastball hitter, and the Padres know this. And every time Dylan Cease faced him, it was like slider, 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 slider. And every time we've been facing him, it's been like, do not throw him a fastball. I don't remember whether or not the pitch he hit off Pivetta was a fastball. I feel like it was not. But Mason Miller hits him with like slider, 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 gets to a 3-2 count, and then dots the corner with 104.5.
104.
And that's just stupid. Like that's the type of thing that like any baseball player would go like, you can't do anything with that. Like you're not hitting 104.5 after you just saw 5 straight 90-mile-an-hour sliders. It's just not possible. Not a thing a human being can do. He's insane.
It is. And I don't mind telling you, I do like listening to these national announcers drool all over Mason Miller. I do like it, and they're like, the Padres paid a heavy price to get this guy, and you're watching it in a playoff game at Wrigley Field, and you're like, this is why they did it. This is why they did it. You know what I occasionally will do, and it's something I think everybody should do if you like baseball. Go look at Mariano Rivera. Go look at his baseballreference.com page, John. And just scroll to the postseason numbers.
Oh, I
for
bet
Mariano
they're
Rivera.
stupid.
It is, when people have some of these silly conversations on sports talk radio or at the bar or on a podcast, and they go, like, if you were building an all-time postseason team, I'm telling you flat out, it would not take me long to get to Mariano Rivera. That's how dominant that guy was over 16 years. 21-11 in the postseason.
Oh my God.
With a .70 earn run average.
Oh my God.
I mean, his numbers do not look real when you look at them, and you look at all of the postseason. He pitched an insane amount of innings, 141 innings all time in the postseason with a sub-1 ERA. And you remember how much of a weapon that was. Now, is Mason Miller in that conversation? No, not yet.
But he could be.
But when you start thinking about how that used to impact some of the games that Mariano Rivera was involved with, I always remember Joe Buck who put it perfectly. Rivera circles like a shark out in the bullpen, and you are worried about getting into the water, because if you are not in the position that you need to be, meaning winning, then that shark is coming, and you're going to be in a bit of trouble. And it just has that kind of vibe to it with this guy. The way he looks, his demeanor, everything about him, it does have that. And, again, people will point out that Mariano Rivera blew a save in, 1997, 2001. I mean, it happens. And it will happen to Mason Miller. But you do have that feeling like early in the game tomorrow, there is going to just be an insane amount of pressure. Just an insane amount of pressure to try to get through and break through against the Padres early, so that you don't have to deal with what it was that you saw coming out of that bullpen, one after another, breathing fire, one after another, because it really did feel, again, it's baseball. It surprises you, but it felt like to me, I was like, this thing's done, right? I was like, we could start our post game show.
Yeah,
I said that in the seventh inning.
In the seventh inning, you said, you're like, we start the post game show now. And I loved, I think it was Kevin Brown at the end who was like, I don't want the audience to be numb to what we're seeing. He's like, every one of these guys is throwing 100 miles an hour, and that's not normal. This is not a normal thing. I love that he said that. By the way, Mariano,
I loved it. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Mariano won World Series MVP as a closer and an ALCS MVP like 4 years later. Just an insane thing. Make your point, then I got one.
The numbers are, I mean, again, he's 8-1 all time in the postseason with a .70 ERA, 42 saves and 100. I mean, it is the most ridiculous. I mean, you'd almost say I'd rather have this guy than Sandy Koufax, but anyway, or Pedro Martinez or whatever. What did I want to say? Oh, the other point about all the heat, all the gas that was coming out is somebody said, I want somebody to look up, like, is this the playoff game where we've had the most 100-mile-per-hour pitches ever?
Oh, yeah,
because Dylan Cease was pumping it up there in the triple digits too. And I thought that was a really, I like that. I hope AJ Cassavell or somebody does look that up. I would like to know that too.
I bet
Sarah Lang's on sports. Yeah,
AJ Preller would love to know that as a guy who loves hard throwing pitchers.
I want to know, where does this rank? Is this, all those 100-mile-per-hour pitches, where does this game rank in terms of postseason games with that much velocity, that many triple-digit pitches thrown in it? So,
and we didn't even have, there wasn't even Palencia out there throwing his 100-mile-an-hour fastballs for the Cubs today, which I'm sure he'll be out there tomorrow. Someone made the point, I'll put it up on screen because I was thinking this, I just wanted to say it, that with Taillon as the starter tomorrow, let's assume he goes 3 or 4 innings, maybe less if we're lucky, but let's assume he goes 3 or 4 innings. That's a lot of at-bats against a right-handed pitcher, and the Padres are much better against right-handed pitching than they are left-handed pitching for whatever reason. So that's it's good for the offense. I'm gonna wake up tomorrow morning and check the Wrigley Winds account to see which direction the winds are blowing and how hard, because that could really determine the game. If all of a sudden there's a 20-mile-an-hour wind blowing out to center field, that's going to change things quite a bit. But right now, I'm feeling good about this Padres team. I hope they're feeling good about themselves. They're 1 win away from a full-on, I'm assuming, 7-game series, right? The division series?
I believe it's 5.
5. Okay, so 7 is when you get to the CS. That's fine. They're 1 win away from a 5-game series against the Milwaukee Brewers, who, when we saw them a few days ago, were not incredibly impressive. So things could go in a very good direction here for Mike Shildt and the boys.
And you mentioned Darvish. Haven't used King. Randy Vasquez is on the squad too. Just in terms of guys that can get you outs, right?
Yeah.
So there are some guys that can get you outs should you need it. There is no ghost runner, so who even knows what's going to happen? Maybe it's going to be a really, really tight game. I would imagine the Cubs are probably going to be pretty tight tomorrow. That's probably going to be a pretty tight group with James Taillon out there on the mound. Now, again, everybody's available. This is it. This is your season. And I do think, too, for our conversation earlier this week, we ended up getting dragged by a bunch of random twats on Twitter about the AJ Preller stuff. I do think if you can navigate through this series and you can guarantee yourself some home playoff games, I do think that is going to make people on the business side of the Padres organization pretty happy. So, I mean, I've sat in a suite during a playoff game with the Padre executive, and I can tell you they sweat those kind of things out, that they need some of that home revenue. And I think that would make things, I don't make any guarantees about anybody's future in the organization, but I think that would make some people pretty happy if you can guarantee some home dates. Now, that doesn't happen tomorrow. Totally different conversation,
right.
But we can save most of that for tomorrow. But I do like that the Padres, I mean, they've had to use more Honan back-to-back days. I cannot imagine that this person will be available again, but I could be wrong.
Miller too, right?
Same thing for Miller.
Yeah.
But you used Suarez today. He hadn't been used. You used
Estrada
yesterday. Didn't go great, although I don't know that he gave up that leadoff hit, and that guy usually comes around the score.
Yeah.
But I feel like you're in decent shape without knowing the in and out of the Cubs and their pitching, their playoff pitching staff. I would think that the Padres look like they're in pretty good shape for me for a game 3. Much better than they could have been, John. Much better.
No, I totally agree. Agree with everything you said. And this can be my last thing because I got to wrap in a minute. Which is after game 1, all the pressure was on the Padres. right? You played this whole season, you fought hard for this whole season, you won 90 games, and you're going home in 2. Like they essentially embarrassed themselves in game 1 in a lot of ways. Manny, Fernando, etc. So all the pressure was on them. After this game, all the pressure is on the Cubs. I know it's a home game for them, but all the pressure is on them. If the Padres can once again take an early lead, like a first inning lead, their fans are going to be freaked the hell out. Their players might be freaked the hell out because they're going to be like, God, we had a 3-game series at home, all of these games at home, and we couldn't beat this Padres team. We couldn't beat 6-year-old Yu Darvish. Oh my God. Like,
who we traded to the Padres, by the way.
Right. All the pressure now went from being on the Padres to being on the Cubs. Now, maybe the Padres play better under pressure. Mike Schilt would tell you yes, but I just like that now the pressure is on the Cubs and they can get in their head a little bit, and the Padres can maybe be a little bit easier as they go in and go like, we did this yesterday, we can do this again.
Yep. Just seeing here. I don't know that I have any other notes that I really wanted to get to. Yeah, I mean, there was some pitching stuff that if it came back to be a question, the decision to take Cease out when they did, the decision to pinch hit Iglesias in the 4th. I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, I don't know. It worked out. It just did everything. Most things worked out for the Padres, and it just did not work out for the Cubs. And I'll always remember AJ Hinch telling me, because I was asking him a question about process. He's like, dude, nobody wants to hear about your process. People want to hear about results. And today the results went the Padres' way. So their process was better, wasn't it? All right. Yep. John's got a boogie. I'll see you on the SDFC midweek show, 6:00 tonight. And we'll do this again tomorrow morning at some point. We'll wait and see what happens with the remaining couple of afternoon games, because that might dictate what time it is that John and I will get up and get running here. But we are around for another day, at least one more day of this 2025 baseball season. I was thinking about that. This would have felt so cruel if this would have ended on October 1st.
Yeah.
Man, I was not prepared for that. I was honestly not prepared for that. And I thought about it after we wrapped up this morning. Now, October 2nd, October 1st, it's 24 hours, but I was not ready for this to be over today. And I'm glad